Good morning. Welcome to the Mountain View Computer Users Group, Saturday, December 14th, 2024. My name is Barry, and this is...
I'm Mike.
We're partners in, I don't know, as John would say, we're partners in Vice today.
Yes.
And this is... the Mike and Barry Show. That's interesting. All right. So today we have some show sponsors. And our first sponsor is our very own Carolyn McLean, the Candle Lady. Carolyn, what do you got for us this month?
The fragrance of the month, which I don't actually have any in stock, but you can still get online, is called Warm and Cozy.
Warm and Cozy, yum.
And these are two of our winter collections, and I have a few others. However, I have a few at my house, but as I count them up, I only have 8 Christmas scents left. I've been doing a lot of events this month. So if you are interested in any of the Christmas scented candles, just get with me during the break. And you can order them online or you can call me up, or you can email me, or you can text me. I'm available in all sorts of ways. But if you order them online, they take about a week to get here.
And they come to you and then you...
No, actually, you can order them online and have them sent to yourself.
Oh, okay. Great. Oh, excellent. I might be in the market for something, for a gift to take with me on my next road trip.
They come in melts too. So if you have one of those little melters, we have little melts you can put in.
Oh, nice. All right. Great. Thanks, Carolyn, for sponsoring the Mike and Barry Show. Second sponsor today, Lucinda Sage Mid-Gordon and her Story Power podcast. This is, as you could tell by the similar last name, this is my wife. She's been doing this podcast now for, I think, close to 3 years, 4 years, or she's starting her 4th year maybe in 2025. Anyway, she's up to over 115 episodes. They come out every other week, so every 2 weeks there's a new episode. She talks to creators, artists, authors, dancers, filmmakers, all kinds of people who tell stories. And she dives into her interviews and draws out the individual's own story about how they became who they are, or how they're becoming who they are becoming in their own creative journey. So you can find her on all the regular podcast outlets: Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. And she does have a Patreon community at patreon.com/storypower if you're interested in exclusive content and extra interviews. So thanks to my wife, Lucinda. And I'm throwing myself in today as a sponsor. Might as well throw a few extra dollars towards the club. And I have an infrequent blog about technology, mostly Apple musings of things. You can find it at bazzmacgeek.com. I think my last post was late summer, and Lucinda was actually a guest on it. So it's kind of a strange episode. But anyway, that's 3 sponsors this month. If you want to be a sponsor or know someone who might want to sponsor a meeting, it's $10 per meeting, $100 per year in advance, I think is what that works. You get a slide during the meeting presentation like we just had, and the video, the recording of our sessions is posted on the user group's YouTube channel. So those sponsor reads are part of that. And when we remember, we'll also post a mention and a link on our Facebook page after the meeting. I'll be doing that, but it'll be in about a week because I'm going to be on the road. So today we're going to have a little business, as usual, some timely tech topics, which are interesting, I think, and timely. Some tips of the month, sharing some favorites, some time for general question and answer if you guys have something you want to ask us. And then we're going to have, Mike's going to share with us all that's new with Windows 11, or at least some.
Yeah.
whatever he could glean from Microsoft at this point. What's going on with Windows, the latest version. And then a second part of our main topic will be compare and contrast online storage options, OneDrive from Microsoft and Apple iCloud Drive. How they are different, how they're similar. In fact, they're pretty similar in a lot of ways, and you don't have to be entrenched in either ecosystem to use them both. So, a gentle reminder, if you would silence your mobile devices, if you need to take or make a phone call, wouldn't mind stepping out of the room. Thank you very much. So, a little bit of business. This would be the time when we welcome anybody that's here for the first time or a brand new member, and I look out and I see all faces that I've seen before. So I'm welcoming you all back to this session. And real quickly, our slate of officers, John Buono, our president, he's away, and that's why you get the Mike and Barry show today. He's in Florida with his family, and of course, Mike's right here next to me, and I'm me right here. And Carolyn, as well as being Mike's wife and the candle lady, is also our treasurer. Is there a report you'd like to file today, Carolyn? We'll come back. Okay, a couple seconds.
Yeah, they were digging out.
1001, 1002. We can edit this part out, or actually, John can edit this part out. Uh-oh, dead air. You never want to have dead air. Anybody have a joke?
Okay, we have $392.76 in checking, $326.44 in savings, for a total of $719.
Excellent. So we can still keep paying for this room for a while, at least through June. Okay, we have a webmaster who's very private. Maybe he'll come one of these days soon. He keeps this site going, MVCUG.org. He had a broken image. I don't know why he couldn't get that to load last time I looked at it. But anyway, so that's our website. If you're unfamiliar with it, please check it out. You can learn more about and see the link to our Facebook page. Click the link if you'd like to go to our Facebook page. From there, you can learn more about all our membership benefits, how to become a member, and all of that good stuff on our website, including upcoming monthly topics, which we'll show a few here today, but you can see the whole slate of them through next August if you're interested on the meetings page at mvcug.org. We have a Google group email list. This happens to be the URL to go to the website where you'd have to sign in with your credentials. However, once you are a paid member, you are added to the Google group automatically. You get an invitation via email if you haven't received one, if you've paid your dues and haven't received one, or if you need a new refreshed invitation to get in, contact any officer and we'll send it out again to you. Just follow the directions, set up your account or set up your thing, and you can participate by asking questions. You can answer other people's questions. You can share interesting information you may find. It's all basically personal computer related stuff that we're trying to all learn about. But answers or questions are answered very, very quickly. Probably less than 24 hours. I know that for myself, I see it, I look at it once a day. At least. You can interact completely via email. You don't have to go to the website at all. Once you have an account set up there, you can just send a message to Mountain View Computer Users Group with hyphens in between each word at googlegroups.com, and it will be posted there in the email list. And everybody that's subscribed will get that email, a notification that there's been a new activity at the group. So it's a good resource, and I think we're doing much better with that one than we did with the Yahoo group one. Additionally, we have a couple of pieces of hardware that members can check out. So if you're interested in a film slide scanner or a projector for any reason, check with John. He's the one that has those in his possession. And also, John and I provide consultation discounts to members. You can text or leave a message, either of those phone numbers, if you need some help. And the discounts apply to if we need to come to your place and be on site with you, it's $35 an hour. Most questions and help that we provide can be done either via text, phone, or remote video conference. We might need to ask some compensation if the remote video conference goes on a long time. And if we can't solve the problem, then there's no charge. But if you have a question that can't be answered in the Google group, ask John or I. And I focus mainly on Apple-related questions, Apple devices, Apple ecosphere, and John will handle just about anything because he knows everything. He's been around for a long time in this industry. Sure you don't want to get on this action, Mike?
Oh, yes, I'm sure.
He's really retired.
Yes. I used to do that.
He used to do that. All right, so what's coming up? We know today's the Mike and Barry Show, and we're going to get into that with Windows 11 and online storage soon. Next year, in fact, January 11th, 2025, our topic is privacy and cybersecurity concerns. Going to be a very interesting conversation and discussion. So in February, web browsers and search engines, keeping organized and how to manage things like your windows, web browser windows and tabs, as well as using the web and using modern search in this age of AI and how that's kind of taken over all this web search stuff in ways that we're not real sure is helping it all that much sometimes. So that's going to be a fun topic. And in March, collaboration software using shared whiteboards like Apple Freeform or the Zoom app has whiteboard meeting capabilities, and it's kind of like for brainstorming. If you're in a group, could be used, if you're in some kind of public service group or a church group or something, and you want to meet remotely and brainstorm together. A collaborative whiteboard is something that might come in handy. So we're going to look at those. Any questions about the Mountain View Computer Users Group? Okay, here we go. Timely tech topics. First off, Salt Typhoon. I don't know if you've ever heard this term. It was the Microsoft security people that gave it that
I don't know
name. I think that's what I read. Anyway, this has to do with the recently disclosed, although not recent, well, it's something that's been going on for a while, hack attack on the U.S. telecommunications industry from China, of which the Chinese government denies any culpability or anything about it, but the NSA is sure that it's coming from China someplace. So these are some bullet points from a couple of different articles that I was looking at in this regard after I had seen it, and then Mike brought it up in our planning. We ought to put it in here. You chime in anytime you want, Mike. But one of the largest attacks that has been seen on the U.S. telecommunications system ever. It's been going on for years, apparently. I don't know how long they've actually known about it.
I can chime in on that.
Yeah.
Seeing as so, in a former life, my profession was actually telephone switching. And the vulnerability is actually in a protocol that the telephone switches have been using since the 80s. Unfortunately, around 1996, there was a law that was passed called CALIA, and I forget what it stands for, but it's law enforcement, something or another. Essentially, it was a mandate that the phone companies keep a backdoor into the phone system so that FBI or whoever could get into it if need be to do easy wiretapping on digital phones. This is when we were just going from mechanical telephone switches to digital. So the weakness in the protocol was kept in there. And the whole thing with trying to put a backdoor into a system is if someone knows it's there, they will find it because they will put whatever is in there. So when we say that we don't know how long people have been in there using this, we literally don't know. It could be back to the 90s it was in there. But it essentially gives them the capability to monitor any communications over the phone systems, the phone infrastructure.
Oh, there's a question?
Thinking when you speak about that, it's in any, what could you call it, any form. We have the old style phones, cellular phones, anything in and of the networks. I mean, it's been accessible.
Yeah, because even the cellular networks go through the old main infrastructure at some point.
Right. So The NSA does believe that these hackers were targeting senior U.S. political figures. Especially leading up to the recent election. I guess their activity, or they were found increased activity in that regard. So these hackers can potentially retrieve any unencrypted communication, including voice calls and now text messages, that we have that capability with our phones and so forth. The caveat with the voice calls, however, is because they're not actually recorded, they have to intercept those live. If the hackers want to listen in on a phone conversation, they have to know and figure out, or it has to be happening when they're listening. But of course, text messages are text. It's just a computer file is kept. And if you've ever looked at your own text message on your phone, you can scroll back and see the whole history of your conversation with that person or persons. That's if it's unencrypted, it can be found and read. Another question.
Now, texts are deleted, but they're still available as data somewhere, I'm presuming.
I think it's going to depend on the system and the software. Yeah, I don't know a real answer to that one. So the FBI is not sure that the telephone companies have actually completely removed the capability of this hack to be in place.
Oh, they wouldn't have. It's
Yeah,
deep in
it's so
deep in
deep.
one of the main protocols.
Yeah.
They'd have to actually tear the whole system out and put it back together again.
So it's likely, that it's never going to go away. I don't know. So now they're saying, which is contrary to what the FBI had been wanting or saying, I don't know, a few years ago, when they want a backdoor into encrypted communications for law enforcement, but now because of this old backdoor, that's been exploited. Now they're saying, okay, let's do everything encrypted.
Yeah, I got a kick out of this because for the years the FBI has fought private encryption, saying they needed to fight bad guys, and now they've done a complete 180, saying everybody needs to encrypt everything for security's sake. Yeah, Charlie.
How does one send an encrypted mean?
1 second.
We're going to get to that. So right now, they're saying stop sending unencrypted text, which means anything over the phone, SMS network, the MMS network, and RCS. SMS is simple message system. MMS is multimedia system or something like that. Multimedia message system, where you can send photos and videos and graphics as well as just text. And RCS is rich communications, I think, something like that, which supports higher resolution images and video, as well as it has the potential to support encryption, but right now the standard does not include it or enforce encryption for RCS. What about encrypted? The advice is to use third-party apps that support end-to-end encryption. You might see this E2EE acronym in the industry, and that's what it means. So here's what you can do. If you have an iPhone, sending a text message to somebody else with an iPhone, and you're both have Apple accounts, that you just use the regular Messages app like you would for a regular text message, but it uses Apple's iMessage system, which is end-to-end encrypted. It bypasses the phone system's messaging system and uses Apple's infrastructure, and that's what you see in your text message. You'll see blue bubbles for your messages. Those are, when you see blue bubbles on an iPhone, you're sending end-to-end encrypted messages. Okay? On an Android phone, if you're sending to another Android device, you also have encryption in place with Google Messages. Now, I don't know if that's a third-party Google app or if it uses the regular SMS for whatever phone company makes your phone. I know Samsung has, Google has their own phones, Google Pixels. Samsung has their line of phones. There's other phones that use Android, and I don't know enough about that platform to know if it's just built into the regular text messaging app that you would use over the phone or if it's a different app that would use. But the article I read said specifically Google Messages.
So
Ava.
if you send a message this way, what does the person on the other end see?
They see the text that you send.
Okay.
And all the encryption is happening in the background. It doesn't affect how you're interacting with it, but It's encrypted on device, it's encrypted in transit, and it's encrypted at the other end. So it's only the person or persons you're texting with can see the contents. If anybody on the outside is intercepting that message, all they see is gibberish code because it's been mathematically garbled, I guess. Another question.
So if you send a message that you don't care if the whole world can see, like a Merry Christmas text or something, they can't do you any harm with that, can they?
These Chinese hackers would know that you're wishing somebody Merry Christmas. No, I was kind of being flippant. The Chinese hackers would know that you're wishing somebody Merry Christmas if they were looking at it. Yeah.
They can't do you any harm.
Well, they just know you're communicating.
Yeah.
Until you wish a Merry Christmas too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just add a little addendum to every message. And you guys in China too. All right. So if you're sending messages cross-platform, here's where it gets a little bit messier. So if you're sending an iPhone to an Android or Android to an iPhone, and you're just using the plain old messaging app on either end, those are not encrypted. And on the iPhone side, you will see green bubbles, not blue bubbles. So if you're texting on an iPhone and you see green bubbles in your text stream, that means you're not sending encrypted messages anymore for whatever reason. So here's some recommendations for third-party apps that provide end-to-end encryption. WhatsApp, Signal, excuse me, and Facebook Messenger. Now, Facebook Messenger, it's end-to-end encrypted, but it's also one of the Meta products, so Meta knows what you're up to. And even though they can't read your content, they know who you're talking to and when you're talking, and they can use that data to
That's right.
target ads.
I think Meta owns WhatsApp as well.
Yeah, that's right. They own WhatsApp as well. So, if you want to stay away from the Facebook, Instagram, Meta, WhatsApp ecosphere, if you're like, I don't want to have anything to do with that social network at all, then don't use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. But they are end-to-end encrypted if you want to use those and don't care.
Yeah, Signal's kind of the go-to app for doing that.
Right.
Barry and I actually installed this yesterday. We were playing around with it with each other, and it'll do encryption automatically. It also has a nice setup that you can set it up where after my message is read, delete it. Mm-hmm. And Signal does not keep anybody's messages, so there's no record of anything that you sent.
Right. Even Signal doesn't have access to
Right.
to their own.
So that's kind of the go-to encryption app for people who are really concerned about their privacy, for activists and such.
There's another one called Telegram that had some other controversial aspects to it, and I think they had some kind of data breach not too long ago. But the thing about Telegram is it provides end-to-end encryption. However, it's not on by default. The user has to turn it on, and that means at both ends of the conversation. So, and it also, if you're in a group chat, like for more than one person, you can do more than one person in a chat. The group chats are not encrypted, even if you've chosen to turn it on. So, even if everybody in the group apparently has chosen to turn it on, the group chat is not encrypted. So Telegram, I don't know. I don't think it's as favorable as it once was when it first came out. So that's basically it on Salt Typhoon. Any other questions about this issue or this news story? Okay. Next timely tech topic, Microsoft Ignite 2024 Copilot Plus and the future. And Mike's got some information for us here.
Good. Okay. So in November, Microsoft had their event, Microsoft Ignite 2024. This is their big annual meeting where they announce what they're going to be doing for the next year. It's the main part, it's actually a multi-day event, but the big part is the keynote speech from the CEO, Satya Nadella. And there's actually a link there to a YouTube video of that, or you could just go to YouTube and then search for Microsoft Ignite 2024 keynote, and that'll take you to that. But here's the highlights of what he was talking about. Microsoft is highly getting into what they're referring to as agentics. What that means is using AI agents to automate the workflow process. Most of this is geared right now towards the business world, but things they introduce for business have a tendency to trickle down to the consumer at some point. And we're going to be seeing that with this also. So AI services agents are pieces of software that will watch what you're doing and try to figure out a way to make things easier for you. I'm starting to see this on some of my documents, like if I bring off Word, it'll suggest things like, do you want help with this? Or if I'll type a document, I'll get a little button that says, polish this. So it's going to try to figure out how you work and try to customize itself to help you figure out how to do things a little bit better. Here is a quote from the speech. Agents can now operate independently, dynamically planning and learning from processes, adapting to changing conditions, and making decisions without the need for constant human intervention. These autonomous agents can be triggered by data changes, events, and other background tasks, and not just through chat. You won't have to specifically ask them to do something. It'll offer, would you like me to do this for you? That's going to be implemented in all Microsoft 365 apps, Word, PowerPoint, etc. And they're going to call them Copilot actions, which I'll talk about here in a sec. And then users are also going to be able to create their own custom agents for their own individual requirements at their place of business. So Copilot actions, these are now available for commercial customers in a private preview. And again, it allows customers to automate tasks across Microsoft 365 apps using simple prompts. I kind of think of this as, if you remember the old macros that you used to be able to do in Word and PowerPoint and stuff, little automated actions. I kind of think of this as macros on steroids. And here's another quote. For example, you can automatically receive a summary of your most important action items at the end of each workday. You can create an action to gather inputs from your team for a weekly newsletter that you send out each Thursday. Or you can automate customer meeting prep with a recurring action that summarizes your last few interactions ahead of your next sync when you get together with your group. There's another product, Copilot Pages, that would let customers save a conversation with an AI assistant and then share it out as pages that can be edited by other coworkers. And they have Copilot Studio, and this will let customers create their own custom agents and connect them to the business data they need to work. So again, customers will be able to create their own custom agents for their own specific processes. The big thing that's really going to affect the consumer is Copilot Plus PCs. These are PCs that have been specifically tailored to use Copilot Plus. On your current PC, if you look down, you'll see a little key with the Windows on it, the Windows key. They're going to change that out for this. They're going to have a little Copilot icon. You'll be able to bring up Copilot by punching that key rather than the Windows key. There are other hardware specifications that manufacturers need to follow to be a Copilot Plus PC. A certain amount of memory, a certain level of processing, and so on. New features will include recall. And this is something they actually rolled out in October. Recall is designed to record everything that you do on your PC. And then later on, who was that I talked to last week when I sent them a chat? It'll be able to go back and find that. They rolled it on in October, and they rolled it back pretty quickly when people pointed out that it recorded everything. So if you, for example, filled out something that had your credit card number, it happily recorded that. And after a few comments, he said, okay, we're going to bring this back. We're going to work on this more. So they're working it out. They're now figuring that sometime in early 2025, they'll try rolling it out again once they work through some of these issues that came up. Some of the other things that will be allowed is click to do, which just, again, displays quick AI actions based on what users are currently doing. And I think that's what I'm seeing now. I think Google actually rolled out something similar with Gemini. When I do an email, I'm going, you want help writing this? A little button says, you want help? And again, at the end of it, I'll get a little button that says, you want to polish this? So I think that click to do is going to be something very similar to that. They say it'll have an improved Windows search experience, which I'm not exactly sure what that will entail. I'm sure using AI to, well, I couldn't find this, but it's similar to this other thing. Would you be interested in that? And they're going to build a new imaging software that will let developers put image editing capabilities directly in their apps, which is something that you'd have to go outside into a separate app to do right now.
Huh.
They're going to give developers an opportunity to do advanced image editing. This was interesting. They actually introduced one piece of hardware, Windows 365 Link. It's that little box that's got some USB and a network port on it. It is a lightweight client, which means that you hook this up to a couple of monitors and it gives you an interface to a Windows cloud experience. On your monitors that you hook up to it, you would see Windows just like you do, but it's not on this computer. It's completely in the cloud. All the storage is completely in the cloud. It lets you go ahead and use that without actually having to load any software locally. Supports 2 4K monitors. They made a big deal out of that. Advanced Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, got 4 USB ports and Ethernet and audio ports, and they're pricing it at $349. That'll be available in April. Again, probably not much for consumers, but I could see using that if you've got a decent network connection. Yeah, Charlie.
Okay, yeah, I think you answered the question, because I've seen that in the Apple Store or whatever. So a guy like me, I would not have a use for anything like that. I'm not a developer.
Right. Well, it's not for developers, but I see this more as for a business use, where instead of buying all your employees a full PC, you'd buy this, and then they could do everything in the cloud. You don't have to actually buy them a $2,000 laptop and then have to configure all the software for each one individually. This one, you just go up to the cloud. It's already configured. You've got access to the Microsoft 365 apps. So, of course, I imagine that to use this, you'd have to have a subscription to Windows. This to me is where they're finally moving to experimenting with Windows itself as a subscription product. We're already doing this with Microsoft 365. To me, this is their final step to a subscription-based product. No. Other questions? Sure.
As an ongoing thing, I know that there have been issues with the companies developing AI, doing the whole learning process, machine learning process, scraping data. Mm-hmm. Is any interaction that you have with the device part of that ongoing, that you're helping to build the universe of their particular
Microsoft has said they will not scrape your personal data to help train the AI. So they say the data belongs to you. So.
Well, I remember a lady a few years ago was a professor in it saying that with either 1 or 2 data points, they could put together a picture of you very specifically from there. So there was reassurance that, it's, we're not going to personalize this as meaningless, I suppose.
No, I imagine they would gather the data in order to personalize the experience for you so we can help you. But I don't believe that it would be used to train the data. However, I would look at service agreements very carefully. When you click on I accept, make sure, actually read it and make sure it doesn't say we can use this data for training. Right now, because there is a lot of concern.
Okay. Hide Zoom.
Maybe.
Come on. Hide Zoom.
You don't want to hide.
Hide Zoom.
That is seamless a process of life.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, okay. One more quick tech topic. Just this past Wednesday, in fact, iOS and iPad OS 18.2 came out. So if you have an iPhone or iPad that supports the latest operating system, there's security patches involved, so you'll want to update your operating systems. In addition, macOS Sequoia 15.2 was also released. Same thing, some security patches and stuff. If you have a watch, there was a watch update. There might be an Apple TV update if you have Apple TVs. Usually when Apple releases an update to any of their operating systems, there's almost all the devices have updates that come out at the same time because they all are so closely related in terms of their core code. But one of the things that this release also added features in terms of more of the Apple Intelligence things were rolled out. So Apple's moving fairly slowly and deliberately on their AI initiatives. And so this is just another step in their year-long journey that they announced back in June of this first round of AI stuff. So remember John was showing us in previous months about the new writing tools that came out with 18.1. There's been some more enhancements to those kinds of tools. There's also Siri is supposedly more contextually aware. And no, I'm not talking to you. So when you invoke the digital assistant that begins with an S on an Apple device, and you ask a question, and you can ask a follow-up question, as long as the interface is still active for the assistant, it will know what you're talking about. Once it's gone away, however, and you initiate it again, it's like a blank slate. So it's not totally conversational. Like you can't just pick up a conversation 10 minutes later that you were having with the assistant earlier. But as long as it's still active, you can talk to it back and forth several questions. So that's fairly new. There's a new feature in the Mail app on iPad, iPhone, and on Mac. It will now automatically sort your email messages into pre-programmed categories. I don't know how helpful that might be because they're choosing the categories, not you. So it's like newsletters and things like subscriptions come in one. They have one called Priority. However, they determine, the ones that you should look at first. There's sales emails. If somebody sends you a sale from Target or whatever, that'll be in a different category. And I think there's 4 total. I can't remember them all. And then added the generative AI integrations. Image Playgrounds is where you can describe something and Apple Intelligence will create an image for you, and it can be either a cartoon or an illustration. There's no photographic realism involved in this. They have a feature called Genmoji, which is generative image creation of custom emoji characters. So if you like sending a text and you're trying to send an emoji and you don't have one that expresses or is an illustration of what you want, you can actually create your own now. And now it's public, the Chat GPT integration. So when you ask the digital assistant, begins with an S, a question that it doesn't know the answer to, it has to go out to get world information. Something about sports, a sporting event, or anyway. Then it's supposed to go out to Chat GPT, and it's gonna ask you before it does it, can I send this to Chat GPT? It's always going to get your permission. I haven't looked at these very much at all. As I said, they just came out Wednesday, and I got it installed finally on all my devices earlier, just yesterday. So I haven't really looked at any of these. So this is basically just announcements, so you can know that it's happening.
All right. I also installed it yesterday. So concerning the auto sorting of email in the Mail app, I have a number of new subscriptions that usually come in overnight. So when I woke up this morning and looked at my phone, I'm going, I don't have any mail. This is weird. And I looked at it, brought up the Mail app, and it's sitting there going, connecting, updating, connecting, updating, connecting, updating, and not showing anything. I start playing with it. After I uploaded or upgraded to 18.2, it came up with the auto sort thing and said, oh, we now have categories. And the default view was categories. It was sorting it. I didn't see any email though. Okay. So then I clicked the bubble next to categories that said list. And list brought it back to my old view. And there's all my emails. And then it stopped trying to constantly update. So I'm not sure what that's about, as Barry said, we'll probably see 18.2.1 coming through pretty quickly to address
Fix some bugs.
these little things like that. So that's something to be aware of when it updates for you, that you might see that kind of activity in your mail.
Now, it didn't do that with me, so
Okay.
it's not
So who knows?
not across the board thing. Okay, I don't think there's any more news on that. Any questions about that? All right, so we got some tips of the month. It's getting close to the first hour here. Do you want to do the Windows
Sure.
tip, and then
Sure.
we can ask if people want to take a little break?
Yes, we
I have a break built in a little bit later, but
We can adjust.
okay, the Windows tip of the month. Oh yeah, you're going to link your phone.
Yes.
That's what you're going to do.
All right.
And he's going to provide a demo.
Maybe. Something that Microsoft has built into Windows 11 is called Phone Link. And it started out as simply for Android phones. They have expanded it out so it now works with iOS devices as well, with iPhones. So you can actually link your phone to your laptop or desktop computer. It's built in, actually, they put it in Windows 10 as well. In order to use it, you launch the Phone Link app. It is now built into Windows 11 as a part of the system. Select iPhone or Android, scan the QR code and follow the setup instructions, and your phone will connect to your Windows device through Bluetooth. And I went ahead and, here's a screenshot from on my desktop, what it looks like. I blacked out the messages that I had there to protect the privacy of the people that I talked to. Since this is going on YouTube, I really didn't want to broadcast that everywhere forever. But that's what it looks like. But I can also try, I have not installed it on here. So we are going to try something.
He's going to do a live and unrehearsed demo, huh?
We will see. All right, move this, move that. Okay, that's my screen. Okay, so in order to install Phone Link, I'm going to go down to my search bar at the bottom left, and I click on search, and it brings this up. Ooh, college football games. And you can see I can ask Copilot. This, by the way, is the latest version of Windows 11 24H2. I'll talk about that a little bit later. So this is the most current version. I'm going to put in, I want to find out about Phone Link. It brings it up there. It says it is part of the system. I'm going to launch it. Hey, use your mobile device from your PC. See? Choose your device to get started. Okay, iPhone. It says pair your device with Bluetooth. So, code expires in 3 minutes. We're going to give it a shot. And oops, and you know how this usually goes in a live demo. Right. Pair your device. It came up with what I did was I turned on my phone on my camera, brought it up there, and it came up with the prompt. You want to pair your device? I said yes. So it was all automatic. Okay, so open, and it brings up a screen here for Phone Link. Continue pairing with Bluetooth. Say okay, continue. We'll see what it does up there. Connecting. I get a Bluetooth pairing request from my phone. It says here, Defiant, which is my laptop, would like to pair with your iPhone. Confirm that the code 841115 is shown on Defiant. Do not enter this code on any other accessory. So I tell it pair.
Exclamation point.
Yes. It says connecting. I will go here and I'll also say pair.
Oh, you can actually touch that screen.
Yeah, this one's touchscreen. And it says, do you want to allow Defiant to receive your iPhone notifications? Sure, why not? And now it says done on the phone. So, done. Oh, and then they want for me to share diagnostic information with them. No, not right now. Thank you. And your phone will connect to a paired PC when in range. Okay, so on here, okay, I did that. I don't really want to do all that, so continue. You're all set. iPhone is now paired with your PC. And welcome to Phone Link. Open Phone Link when I sign into Windows. That's all right. And here's what it looks like right at the moment. And this one says, I just got a Bluetooth message. Oh, I got something else. I just had something else come in, a notification. All right. So I can actually now make a call from here. You see I have the keypad. Or I go over to Messages. Grant permission from your device to sync contacts and display text messages, which I'm not going to go into that right now. You can see it's kind of a bare bones interface. The one thing I don't like about it is that it will only take messages when I'm actually connected to it. It won't like download messages that I've had before. It only does it in real time. The other thing I don't like about it is we have an officer group text chat between me and Barry and Carolyn and John that we'll often use, and this does not support group chats. So if we're doing a group chat and Barry sends something to everybody, all I will get on here is, you got a message from Barry. And if I reply to it, it will only send the reply to Barry, not to the group. So this, I imagine at some point it might support that. I hope it does. It would make it a lot more useful.
Yeah.
So, but that's how phone link works. So as you can see, setting up is fairly painless. If you're close to your laptop or desktop a lot, this might be convenient for you. So, you can see if it would be more convenient for me in a lot of ways, because sometimes I'll get texts from the group, Barry, saying, I have a link to the latest document we're doing for the meeting, and I want to use it on my desktop. This way I'd actually be able to click on the link in the desktop and bring it up. As it is now, I have to click on the link on my iPhone device and then usually download it some other way. So this would make things just a little easier for me. But that's iPhone link. Questions?
Is there a similar link for Mac?
iPhone and Mac pretty much does this automatically.
Yeah. In the Apple ecosphere, the Messages app on the Mac and the iPhone and the iPad can all be synced through iCloud, something I'll talk about later.
Yeah.
And you get all the same messages on your desktop as you got on the phone or the iPad. Yeah.
Yeah. With the Mac,
Including groups.
yes, with the Mac,
Including Android people.
yes, in the Apple sphere, you don't need to go through near as much of this stuff. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
So,
Barry.
so that would be a way that you could send images from your phone text to your computer?
I believe so, yes, because the messages would actually show up here, and I think anything that's attached to it, you should be able to then download that if you
Yeah,
wanted to.
I would think so. Yeah.
I think that this is also kind of a down and dirty way to, in a way, sync your phone up to your laptop. But that I'd have to look into more. Okay, Barry,
Anything else?
should do it.
Can you make phone calls on your computer then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oop, right.
Sorry.
Oh,
There we
yeah. On the calls, it actually has this keypad here,
Yeah.
so you can actually do that here.
The voice goes through your voice on your
Yeah, your microphone.
microphone.
Yeah.
Microphone and speakers on the computer
Yeah.
then would be the.
Yep.
Oh.
But it's actually going through your phone, so you have to have your phone nearby.
It's using the cell network connection from your phone.
Yeah. This is connecting by Bluetooth to the phone, and then of course the phone is using the cellular network out.
Yeah, and that works the same way with Apple. You can do the same thing. Make phone calls on your Mac, but it's using the phone to actually make the call over the phone network. The macOS tip is cleaning up your photos. This is a fairly new feature in the Photos app using Apple Intelligence called Cleanup, aptly enough. And this is how it works. So I'm going to switch to my Photos app here. I have a album for the group here. I have a demo, and I have this photo here of my sister-in-law and her husband, Jamie. This was from our Thanksgiving road trip to Washington recently. And I've already kind of cropped it down. As you can see here, it's a portrait shot with my iPhone. The background's nice and fuzzy, so the faces are in focus. But it has this edge of a frame at the top here on the wall. It's not really informative, and I don't want to crop it too tight to the top of their heads to crop that completely out. So this is something I don't really want in the picture anymore. And this cleanup feature, which came out in the fall, earlier in the fall, as part of the new operating system. So this is it came out with the previous version of the operating systems. We came out with 15.2 and 18.2 for the mobile devices just this week. The previous one was 15.1 and 18.1. So this cleanup feature in the Photos app came out about a month ago. That's actually when it was added. So Here's how it works on the Mac. As I said, or alluded to anyway, it's also on the iPhone and the iPad. You can do this, and you do it with your fingers on the touchscreens, obviously. But on the Mac, you go into editing mode, and you would do the same thing on the mobile devices. You have to go into the editing mode for the photo that you're looking at. And you'll see at the top of the screen now we've got 4 buttons. We've had 3 before. We've had adjust, and we've had, it wasn't called styles before, it was called filters. And then we have crop, where you change the size and the aspect ratio. Those were there before, but now there's a 4th one called cleanup. And when you first invoke it on any device, it'll have to download some more data, some more code to add to the app. But once it's done, it doesn't take very long. Then you get one tool. You get this scale here where you can change the size of the brush, basically. On the mobile devices, you just use your finger and touch what you want to clean up. But you can change the size that the mouse is going to be on the picture. And then all you do is use your mouse and go over the thing that you want to remove, and voila, it takes it off of the photo. And it's simple. If you have, then you click done, of course, and that saves it. Now, just like any other editing in the Photos app on any Apple device, this is non-destructive. You can always revert back to the original photo, and all that will come back. If you export this out, it'll export the edited version. And then you'd have either JPEG or PNG or whatever format you want to use for other uses. But let's go back and see if I can find another one that might have something in it that may want to... Let's look at this one real quick and see if it will identify something automatically. Sometimes the cleanup tool will identify something in the frame that it thinks you want. No, it doesn't do that automatically here. But I could paint over this mesquite bush here in the foreground and see what it's going to do. Not too shabby. If I zoom way in, it probably would look kind of funky there. Yeah, you can kind of see the edges of the background bushes are kind of goofy, but not too bad, I guess. And of course, you can you can reset the cleanup. Let me go back to the full frame. You can reset the cleanup in the sidebar here for the tool. It doesn't affect any other editing you may have done. It just resets what you've done with the cleanup. But we will click done. If there's something in the frame, well, I don't know if I have anything. I may have to. That it thinks should be cleaned up. Sometimes it'll automatically start highlighting something. Let's see if it does anything with this selfie here. See if it's going to... Oh yeah, see this glowing area here? So the cleanup tool is analyzing the photo itself. Like say, oh, look, there's a pumpkin. Maybe this guy doesn't want the pumpkin on the porch. All I have to do is click on that glowing bit that it's already identified, and it does it. So sometimes the cleanup tool will actually identify things for you that you may or may not want in the picture, but if it does, like it will, it's pretty good at identifying, like if there's people way in the background of a scenic shot that you don't want in it, it'll come up already highlighting, and you just click on it and it'll take that person out of your picture. The cleanup tool is smarter than it used to be called what was it called? There was a brush that you could brush out blemishes, but I forgot what they called it. But it's smarter and better than it used to be. And that, as they say, is that. Yes.
I've got a question for you, because I'm in my photos now, and I'm running 15.1. And when I click on a photograph, okay, the edit button is...
The edit button is grayed out.
Yeah.
That means that the photo's not resident on your device. It needs to be downloaded.
Well, I take all my photographs on my iPhone.
Yeah.
And transfer them automatically.
But it's not going to transfer the full resolution original unless you try to do something with it. So make sure you open it up full screen.
Yeah, I did.
Well, let's talk at the next break, and let's see. I don't know why the edit button would be grayed out.
So is that a paid subscription?
No, it means paying for an Apple device, either a Mac or an iPhone or an iPad.
So it's not an app that you have to pay for?
No, it's an app that's included with your Apple device.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, iPad or iOS. This applies to both an iPad or an iPhone. And this kind of goes with our topic discussion about cloud storage. If you're subscribed or you have an Apple account, you have some iCloud storage, whether it's the free tier or you pay for more, and you want to know how it's being used and how much you got left, this is how you would check on your device what you've got and how it's being used. So let's see if I can get my iPad to mirror to computer. Look at that. There it is. I did this at home and it was like incredibly slow. All right, so on your iPhone or iPad, and you want to check your iCloud storage, you go to settings, and I've got the settings app in my dock on my iPad here on the far left, and then tap that. And then you tap your name at the very top of the sidebar. That's your Apple account and iCloud information and settings. And then scroll down a little bit. The top item in the second section is iCloud. It shows you how much you're paying for or how much your total is, 2 terabytes. It gets you to the iCloud. And since I am subscribing, I have an iCloud Plus account. You'll learn more about that later in the meeting. And then it says storage there at the top. So tap that again, and then it's going to give details about the storage. This is where it'll show you how much you have. In my case, I've got 2 terabytes of cloud storage, telling me how much is used. 626 gigabytes is being used out of 2 terabytes. And below that, it shows how it's broken up. 17% of my storage is iCloud photos. I have some 25,000 photos and several thousand videos. All the photos I've taken since I had a digital camera are in my iPhoto library. Photos library. It used to be called iPhoto. That was a throwback. I have a family sharing account as part of this. Also, I'll explain that in a little bit. Family is taking 10%, which means my wife shares this storage with me online. It could be up to 5 people in my family, but my family's just 2 people. So my wife takes up 10% of our storage online. And then my iCloud Drive, which is a lot of documents, but it's only 1% of my storage. And then backups is also. And the backups are my iPhone and my iPad backups, iCloud backups. So that shows me, and I got plenty of room left. I don't need to buy any more storage for now. So that's very simply and quickly. If you have an Apple device, you want to know what your iCloud storage is. Every Apple account, as we'll find out later, gets even the free level has iCloud storage. That's how you find out. Any questions? Now we have some favorites. Are you ready, Mike?
Oh, I'm ready.
To share your favorite this month. Tuneboto Amazon video downloader. Mm-hmm. Cool. I think he's got a demo.
Well, okay, so what I'm going to talk about is something I found very useful. Tuneboto Amazon Video Downloader for Windows. This is available at tuneboto.com. About a year ago, people started becoming concerned about the state of movies and Blu-rays as Best Buy announced they would no longer carry Blu-rays. I think some of the larger stores announced they wouldn't also. So everybody started wondering how long are Blu-rays going to last. And at about that same time was when some of the streaming services started saying, we're not going to allow or make available for streaming some of these shows that may cost us money because of licensing, so we may make some not available. So about a year ago, about the time that Oppenheimer came out, there was a movement to, we need to go back to Blu-rays. For the simple reason, once you own a Blu-ray, nobody can take it away from you. You can always play it. You don't have to worry about it's streaming now, will it be streaming later when I want to watch it. Okay. Back then, I started buying more Blu-rays again just to build up my library. But this begged the question, what happens to all of the Amazon videos that I've purchased on streaming over the last 15 years or so? I'm a big movie buff, and I believe streaming was the future. Right up until they decided we're not going to make this available for streaming because it costs us too much money. And I actually did encounter with some television that I had purchased I'm looking at some of the seasons, and all of a sudden I realized one season is no longer available. I can't play it. They said, yeah, we changed the licensing on that. You'll have to stream it someplace else. But I purchased it. Yeah, well, you can't get it. So, and if you look at the Amazon streaming agreement, it actually says you are licensing this. This is subject to the licensing agreements we have with the owners of this. So it may or may not be available. So I started wondering, is there a way that I can, through fair use, download a copy for my own personal archive? And it turns out there's this product that works very nicely. Tuneboto Amazon Video Downloader for Windows. Looking at the site, they actually started with being a music downloader, and then they expanded into video. And as I said there, yeah, digital videos that are purchased from Amazon are licensed to you, not owned by you. And if the licensing agreements change, you may not have access to the videos you purchased. And that actually has happened to me. Now, Amazon always allows you to download videos directly if you've purchased them, but they can only be used on Amazon devices like Fire TV. You can download it to that. Tuneboto is a little software application that lets you download and save your Amazon purchases in MP4 format to your local storage device. And then you have permanent use of your purchases. I've used it. It works very nicely. I have my videos now downloaded and saved to a hard drive on my network. And if I want to watch a movie that's on that, I bring it up on my laptop through a little media viewer, and I cast it to my television, and it works really nicely. It's very high quality. It is not free. You can download like I said, I couldn't get it installed on this particular device myself, but their demo version lets you record 5 minutes of video, so you can see what it's like. Current purchase plans include 1 month for $39.95, 1 year for $49.95, or a lifetime for $89.90. They've gone up a bit because it was $79.90 when I purchased it about 6 months ago. And it is also available for Mac. They have a Mac version as well. So I found it very useful. I went ahead and I bought the lifetime. So this is what it looks like. And yes, this is my own video collection, so don't judge. What it does is it brings up a web browser inside of its own application, and it is the Amazon homepage.
It looks like a web page, doesn't it?
It's the Amazon homepage.
Yeah.
And I just went to my purchases and rentals, and it shows all my purchases and rentals. And all I do is click on one of the movies, and it has a little button down here just like this. I click on that, and it comes up with a dialog box. What resolution do you want this in? Do you want this in HD TV? Of course, if you're going to do this, I figure, why would I go for a lower resolution? I'm going to grab the highest resolution I can, and it will go ahead and start downloading and download it to your device. I download it to my main computer, and then I copy it over to a larger hard drive I have on my network. You can download a movie. You can also download TV shows, and it's quite nice. You can either download single episodes, or you can tell it to download an entire season, since that's the way that these are packaged here. If you have a television show, each folder here represents a season.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got Orville there. Is that the whole, all seasons, or just one season?
That is the season 3, because season 3 is the only one they have not made available on Blu-ray. I got seasons 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. Highly recommended.
Yeah, I love Orville.
So yeah, it works very nicely. The one thing to be cautious about is this does chew through your bandwidth. A high resolution movie can run anywhere from a couple of gigs to, I have some of the Marvel superhero movies with bonus content, and some of those that run up around 25 gigs or so of download. So you can burn through your data cap with your ISP pretty quickly. I actually downloaded my entire library, and it actually took several months of me monitoring, not going too much at one time. I actually started getting into the habit of the last week before my cycle would kick over into the next month. I wouldn't download it till then it'd start downloading so I could sneak up on the cap. So, but it is a very handy way to do this for Amazon. If you have Amazon purchases, I would recommend it as a way to archive your own information, your own movies. Alrighty. And
okay, my favorite is related. It's also a video downloader. It's called Downie for the Mac for ostensibly YouTube videos. However, I took a look at the settings, and it supports a whole lot of different sites that you can download video from. It's a very minimal interface. This is a screenshot from Downie. And it's pretty simple. All you need is a URL from the YouTube video, put it in, and it just downloads it. It's $20 For a permanent license, I imagine if there's a new version of the software that comes out, you would have a an option to get a discount on the upgrade. Otherwise, you just pay one price. It's not a subscription. Software.charliemonroe.net/Downie. He has some other software that he creates as well under the main homepage. You can look at it. So it's also, if you're in the Mac universe and you know about the SetApp subscription service, it's also part of SetApp. So if you subscribe to SetApp, this is one of the apps you can use as part of that subscription, which is how I get it. Oops. Let's launch Safari and let's go to YouTube, and I'm going to go to my subscriptions here, and where's the list? Let's find the MVCUG channel. Here we go. Let's say I want to download last month's video of the meeting, which I haven't watched all of yet. So I'll just go to the page for this video.
So that'll take you into everything that's going on.
I'll mute it and pause it. All I need is either this URL in the address bar, or you can choose under the share link, and on every YouTube video you can just copy the URL right here by clicking on copy. And then I'll hide that and we'll launch Downie. There it is. And as you see, it's just a blank window basically, but in the bottom left corner there's a plus sign. And since I already have a URL on my pasteboard, it knows it. Add from pasteboard. It adds it to the queue, and you can queue up a number of these all at once. And right now it's defaulting to download the audio, but I can choose, no, that's not what I wanted. Stop it. Let's stop it. I want the actual movie. The last time I downloaded, here we go, video. That's into Permute. Retry. MP4,
It's video.
That's video.
Yeah.
Okay, that is video. There we go. So you can download just the audio of a YouTube video if you want. That's why it was on audio before. I downloaded I had a long Christmas, music video on YouTube during Thanksgiving break, and it was just a picture, and I just wanted the music that it was playing. It was just like background jazzy Christmas music, and so I had it just download the audio instead of the video as well. So I had to change it to go back to video here. So as you see, it's just doing it. It's doing it in the background. You can queue up a whole bunch of these at once. While it's doing that, let's take a look at the settings for this app. You can see here that in general, you can have it automatically start. You can have it play notification or post notifications and play sounds when it does stuff. You can choose where it's going to go. By default, it creates a folder called Downie Downloads, and it puts that folder in the Movies folder on your Mac that's in your user. Every user has a Movies folder by default, and so it puts it in there. You can view your history, you can clear your history. But I thought what was interesting, if you go down here to supported sites, it's got a long list alphabetically of websites where it could download audio and video from. So these are not, it's not like Prime Video. If you've bought a video on Prime, you can't do that from here. But there's a lot of news sites. There's BBC. It's got NPR. If there's audio, radio, news that you want to listen to or capture, there's all kinds of places, CCTV, and CNN. There's all kinds of places where you can download audio and video. So this software supports a lot more than just YouTube. That was the main thing that I found interesting. So there's all kinds of different settings here. Won't go into the details, but it's one of my favorite apps. Every time I need something from YouTube, like finding a how-to of doing something like a DIY project around the house for fixing something, or a craft project or something, and I don't want to just have my computer or have something constantly streaming and having to pause and go back. I can download the video and I can play it on my iPad wherever I happen to be working if I want, whatever I need. So it could come in handy. Close the settings. Still got a little bit of time left here, and it's downloading in the one of the settings. I didn't look at it, didn't show it to you, but you can choose whether to download in the highest resolution that is possible, or you can say, okay, I just want 1080p no matter what's available on YouTube. So as long as it's at least 1080p, it'll download that. If it's lower resolution than that, it'll download the lower resolution. But if you've got 4K video on YouTube and you only want 1080p, it'll only download it 1080p if you want it that way. Or it'll just do whatever the highest you have. So that's Downie for the Mac. Video, audio downloader. Any questions? Truth be told, I chose this as a favorite. I've used it a lot, and I thought, oh, he's got a video downloader. I'll do a video downloader. But my actually new most favorite thing right now is this. This was my retirement gift from the city of Sierra Vista. It's an Ember heated commuter mug. So it's got a built-in heater. It charges, it connects via Bluetooth to an app on my phone. I can set the temperature. It lasts about 4 hours, and so it's great in the car in the morning on road trips when I go and get coffee and I have it, and it doesn't cool off too fast in the car before I drink it all.
An internet-connected travel mug. We are officially in the end times.
It is internet connected because it has built-in Apple Find My. So if I leave this at the rest area or at a restaurant someplace, I'll get notified on my phone, hey, you left your Ember mug behind, and I can go back and get it.
Battery operated?
It's battery, yeah. It's got a little charging tray that you set it on. There, the videos. I needed something to fill in the time till the video was finished. So let's take a look. We'll go to the Finder. We'll open a window. This is my user, my default user folder. Here's my movies folder, Downie downloads, and there's last month's meeting. And it even shows the chapters. Look at there.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, John, you're not here today. That's Downie Downloader. To general Q&A, we've got a few minutes before the last hour begins. Anybody have any general personal computing questions they'd like to pose?
I have a Windows 11 question.
Okay, he's your guy.
What are ways to save a screenshot and to change the format?
To change the format in, how do you mean?
The file format?
Windows 11. What are different ways to save a screenshot
Okay.
and to change the format, like from image to JPEG or whatever?
Okay. Since I'm going to be talking about Windows 11, I will save that for about 5 or 10 minutes from now, and I'll bring that up.
Okay.
Cool.
He'll
Because that's what our main topic is.
probably demo it.
I will now.
Ava.
When I was working on my email recently, all of a sudden, my computer does stuff all of a sudden, I don't understand why, but it changed the print, so it's so small I can barely read it. What can I do to try and get it back to what it used to be?
How are you reading your email? Is it a local client or is it on the web?
I just go to hotmail.com and
Okay, so you're using a web browser to look at it in a web page, web view.
yeah.
Whew. So that would be changing It's just the body of the message is the only thing that's changed? Or is it the entire interface?
No, it's just the body of the emails.
There must be some setting for
I didn't knowingly do anything. Lord knows what I might do, and not realize I'm doing it, but I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, I know there are keyboard shortcuts for zooming in and out of web content.
But that's the whole thing.
But that's usually the whole web page, not just the size of the text, yeah.
No.
Do you use Hotmail?
No.
I don't use any webmail services, actually. Well, I do have a Gmail account, but I don't actually go to Gmail.
All right, let's see here.
Mike's going to bring something up here. Oh, I got to hide this. Going to see if he can answer this.
Because any web content should be pretty similar. So I'm looking to see. Move that over there.
We can't see that.
Okay. I'm looking to see. Okay, there's nothing there for font. Yeah, as Barry was saying, you can always zoom in or out using if it's Windows, using plus or minus.
Where's
You
the
do
plus
like that.
and minus?
It is the plus and minus are at the top of the keyboard. The keys go 890 and then dash and equals.
Oh, okay.
Plus and minus are hold on the control key, at least on a laptop.
Yeah,
And
and on the
that's-
Mac it's Command key. So.
And plus makes it bigger and resets it.
But you'll
So-
notice on the,
but it makes
it's doing everything in the
Yeah.
interface, not just.
So that's not actually what your issue is here.
Probably not.
There should be some place where,
I actually searched it up. It says if you use control, maybe you hit control minus by accident.
But again-
It says if you hit control plus, it'll come back up.
yes, but again, that's the entire interface and not just the body of the message.
But maybe I don't care about the rest of the stuff. I just care about the.
Okay, well, it's a
Well-
fast and dirty fix. That'll
I'll
work for
try
you.
it.
Yeah,
But there's some place that is controlling the font, and I don't know where that is on here. I don't know where it would be on Hotmail.
it's probably something in the Hotmail email interface. There might be some kind of
Yeah, you might-
setting widget or icon where you can change the font of the text.
You might want to try Google Hotmail font
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see if that kicks up anything for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions?
As long as I'm here, then your question about
Oh, screenshots?
screenshots.
Go ahead, do it. You're here.
I will. I'm here. Okay.
Oh, that's a neat rock.
It doesn't have it here. Windows actually has a built-in tool for screenshots called the snipping tool. It used to be the sketch and snip. I think they changed it to snipping tool now. I just go down to search here and I start snip. It comes up with snipping tool app. And for reasons I haven't figured out yet, it comes up by default that wants to do a recording, a video. If I click on the little camera over here, then it'll take a snip.
And
instead.
that's new, actually, because when I was using it at the city of Sierra Vista, it didn't have video capability.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just static shots.
This is one of those things that I'm going to complain about when I talk about Windows 11, is Windows or Microsoft has kind of stopped communicating new features. They just throw stuff out there but don't really tell anybody what's there. So they leave it up to independent bloggers and pundits to kind of play around and figure out, okay, what have they done now? So it says to do the Windows logo key plus Shift plus S. So I'll do that. And it comes up here. All I have to do is tell it what part of the screen I want to take. So I'll just do like this. And it went ahead and it actually did a screenshot for me. And actually it should have...
Doesn't it come up?
Actually, it did on my desktop. So in that case,
It must have just saved it someplace.
or just put it to the, or did it to the copy paste. There it is. Okay, I had to do the new, and then it actually did it in here.
Okay, got it.
Can now add shapes and emojis. Okay, got it. Of course, you can see it's trying to be very helpful. Stop it. Stop talking to me. And then, as far as changing the format, that depends on the different applications. And this actually I see, I've not played with this much before. So I see it says edit in Paint. Let's see what it does with Paint nowadays. So I bring up Paint, and let me do a save as and see what options it gives me. Okay, here you go. You can save it as a PNG, a JPEG, a bitmap, a GIF, or other format. Let's see what other format gives us.
Yeah, what others are there?
That's in the snipping app.
Yes, this is in the snipping app itself.
Well, the snipping app launched the Paint app.
Yeah. This is the Paint app, but it was launched through the Snip app. So you can do Snip to actually get your screenshot and then edit in Paint, and that will let you save it in a different format.
And that screenshot you took is, okay, yeah, that's just what you highlighted on the.
Yeah, it's just what I highlighted on the screen.
Thank you. You get that just by right-clicking on the screen and clicking on the screenshot, right? Instead of going through all the.
Probably. I closed it.
Snipping tool, yeah, I've never used
Yeah.
snipping tool. Okay.
Yeah, they called it, in Windows 10, they called it Snip and Sketch.
I think that menu right there gives you other options. So you can do a
Oh,
whole.
I could do a rectangle or the window or a full screen or freeform, which could be interesting.
Yeah, you could draw around the rock.
Yeah.
Of course, then you'd have probably a white rectangle that it goes on.
So, okay, so I just did it, I told it to do a full screen. And there it actually gave me a full screenshot of the entire thing.
And what's the default though? If you were just to save this, is it gonna give you a choice of formats, or is it just gonna?
Okay, that's the little floppy disk here is
Yeah.
automatic save as. So, okay, yeah, from here, okay,
You
your
got three-
choices are JPEG or GIF, PNG, JPEG or GIF. If you don't go into the paint.
Looks like PNG is the default for the snipping tool though.
Yeah.
I just found something that's specifically to Hotmail. It says log into your Hotmail in your inbox, click on options, then more options. And then under writing email, click on messages, font, and signature, and then select font size.
Could you say it one more time? Options, more options?
Yeah, see, options, more options.
Okay,
And then under writing email.
we're answering multiple questions at a
Writing
time.
email,
3,
click on message,
4.
font, and signature.
A menuing system 4 levels deep. Wow.
That's not unusual
I know you got it.
Select font size.
for a Microsoft product.
Yeah, well, you really got to dig for that one.
Yeah, that's specifically for Hotmail that I just found.
Oh, the one thing I'll mention here is that it says here screenshots are automatically saved to your screenshots folder. That kind of goes along with the OneDrive. What it's doing is it's saving it to my OneDrive folder, and we'll see that we actually have options for that. Okay, just do it for you.
Does it help?
Yeah, so you go to after you highlight what you want to save for a screenshot, you go to snipping tool after that or before that?
Go to snipping tool first, because otherwise you're not going to have the option to do it. So you bring up the snipping tool first.
Yeah.
And again, just go to the search box and type in snip.
Okay,
And it brings it up.
I'll play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings up this, and then picture or recording.
It just gives you, it's, software that gives you more options
Yeah.
than just the print screen thing used to.
Right.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Other questions?
Any other questions? Got 2 minutes. Looks like that's that.
And they're there.
We'll take another break. And we're back again. Time for our main topic. Gentle reminder to keep your mobile devices silent. So, what's new with Windows 11? What's going on with Windows these days? Mike is going to tell us.
All right. Okay. So presentation today, I hit Windows 11 rather lightly, just with what's going on as far as the update goes. I hit Microsoft OneDrive to a lot more detail, because that's really the more confusing thing. But ask me any questions about Windows 11 as we go along, or especially at the end. Once I finish up with the slides, then I will go into Windows on here, and we'll discuss any questions that come up. So what's going on with Windows 11 nowadays? Over the last couple current versions of Windows, Microsoft has changed the way that they upgrade things. They did Windows 10, then they do Patch Tuesday and all that. Then they started getting into a thing where they'd only do a major patch a couple times a year. And we are now currently apparently where there is one patch a year. And they're calling that, well, it's codenamed the year number, and then H, and then a version number. The latest version of Windows is 24H2. And it actually was the only major update of Windows this year. They were doing before, in 2022, they did 22H1 and 22H2. H1 was in the spring, H2 is in the fall. Looks like the fall version is now where they're really putting everything together. So the latest major upgrade to Windows 11 was 24H2. They started rolling it out in October. Instead of having an actual release date, they start sending it out to devices on a transient basis. Basically, it could take a couple of months before it shows up on your system unless you go looking for it. To see if you've updated, go to Settings and then System and then About. And here's a screenshot of what it looked like on my desktop. It says, yes, I'm running Windows 11 Pro on my desktop. version 24H2, which was installed on October 17th of this year. If you go and look at that under settings and then system and then about, if you don't have 24H2, you'll have probably 23H2. So this is and this laptop also has the latest version on there. So everything you see on here is the latest thing. What they put in H2 enhancements, they put in the features for Copilot Plus for the PCs that actually will run that. And then some major upgrades, Wi-Fi 7 support. I didn't even know Wi-Fi 7 was out, but okay. Bluetooth LE enhancements, and then just some basic things that they added in there. File Explorer, PC Spare Management. Something I found interesting, join and share Wi-Fi networks using a QR access code. So you'd actually be able to use your device with a phone. Enhanced privacy controls for Wi-Fi network access. One thing they kind of put in for the people that really use the command line, a sudo, which sudo is an old Linux thing for perform as super user. So if you're logged in as a normal user, you can use a sudo command on a Windows command line to execute something that would require administrator access without actually leaving where your access that you're at. And then they had some remote desktop enhancements. So a lot of little things that they just kind of threw in there, along with whatever they did to the underlying code. Okay, this is what we got a lot of questions about in October, when Microsoft reiterated that they're going to end support for Windows 10 in October of 2025. This is not new news. They announced years ago that they had a 10-year life cycle for all their products. When Windows 10 came out, they said then that it will end in 2025. What happens then in 2025 is Windows 10 PCs will no longer receive security updates. They made another announcement shortly after that saying they're going to offer an extended support program for another year after that, where it would cost you $30, and then you'd get support for one more year. Their official advice is if you're running Windows 10 and you cannot upgrade to Windows 11, get a new PC. That, honest to God, is their official recommendation. Because not every device, not all hardware will support Windows 11. So go to Settings and Windows Updates to see if your device can upgrade. What they were doing before early on was having you download an app called the PC Health app to look at your hardware and see if it could go to Windows 11. Now they actually built that into Windows Updates, where if you're running Windows 10, it'll say, click here to see if you can update to Windows 11. Let me see if okay. Oops. No, you're good. Oh.
No, I got something. That's odd that would come up now.
Yes, isn't it though?
Sorry about that.
Okay, so here's the thing about Windows 10 and upgrading to Windows 11 on older devices. Their big thing about Windows 11 was they wanted to make it secure. And in order to make it secure, they put in a requirement that Windows 11 will only run on hardware on a computer that is running what they called a Trusted Platform Module, TPM. And not only that, it has to be running TPM version 2.0. What that does is it makes it much more difficult for people to use ransomware to take over your computer. It takes some of the main functions of your computer and puts it in hardware instead of software. It's much, much harder, if not impossible, to hack something that's in hardware. So this is to slow down the ransomware makers. And there's a few other things that they also require for Windows 11, like a certain amount of memory, a certain amount of storage, and all that stuff. One of the things it's looking at when you're doing can I upgrade to Windows 11 is, do you have a TPM module? If you don't have a TPM module, you can't upgrade to it. If you look at it, it says you do have a TPM module, then it needs to look and see do you have a TPM module that's running version 2.0, or is it running version 1.0? The thing is, some hardware that's not that old, it may have a TPM module on it, but it may not be turned on in the BIOS settings, what we used to call the BIOS settings. So if you look for some of the stuff about can I install Windows 11 on my older computer, it may guide you to figuring out how to look into your BIOS and see if you have a TPM module at all. And if you do, how to turn it on to Windows version 2.0. If you don't have a TPM module, you can't do it. It just will not allow you to do it. You'll see some stuff online that there's certain ways to bypass some of this stuff and put it in. But Microsoft said if you do that, it's not supported. You may be able to run Windows 11 on some older hardware, but they will not support it if it doesn't meet their specifications. And they said basically what they're going to do with that is if you do install that, it's going to put a watermark on your Windows 11 display saying this is not supported. And just recently, I just heard this last week that they also said to try to discourage people from doing this, even if you upgrade to Windows 11 on unsupported hardware, you will not be offered Windows updates. They really, really, really want everybody to get new hardware and put Windows 11 on that. Again, primarily because they're saying that this is really the only way to stop a lot of the bad hacking and ransomware people that are out there. Questions, sir?
If you happen to have a Windows 11 that's not a 24H2, did it change it to 24H2 just under automatic updates?
It will get it under automatic updates.
So
Yeah.
it will go to 24.
Yeah, it'll eventually put it on there. If you go up to updates, Windows updates yourself and say check for updates, then you are now classified as what Microsoft calls a seeker. People who look for the updates are then offered them. If you don't seek the updates, then you get them whenever you get them. If you really want it earlier, just go up and say check for updates, and it may very well download it at that time. Charlie.
Yeah, Mike. See, I purchased a laptop last year,
Mhm.
so I'm assuming it has Windows 10 on it. So when I get home today, I'll go through this situation.
Well, it may very well have Windows 11 if you purchased it last year. Windows 11 has been out for 2 years now.
Yeah, that's what I
So,
want to check today to
yeah.
see if it's upgraded, because I just purchased this
Yeah,
last year.
I'm sure it is. I'll be surprised if you don't have 11 on it already, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, because I bought this is about 2 years old. I actually bought this when Windows 11 first came out, so I could have it for this kind of thing. Of course, back then, this is a Microsoft Surface, and it was only one way back then because I bought it early enough. It was the only way I could make sure it had Windows 11 in it. Because at that time, there were still people selling their older laptops that had Windows 10. So, yeah.
Follow up on that, because I was watching a commercial. See, I do a newsletter, for my organization. I write everything in Microsoft Word,
Mhm.
but my editor and publisher publish everything in Publisher.
Ah.
So the Mac does not have Publisher. So
Right.
that's the primary reason I bought the PC. Also because PC was advertised with Copilot.
Right.
That was my main emphasis on buying the PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need to talk to you guys about, can I do my newsletter on a Mac, or do I have to, stick with the PC if I want to use Microsoft Publisher?
Yeah. I'm not even sure Publisher is actually offered anymore.
I heard
through
it was
Microsoft.
end of life when I was
Yeah.
still working for the city. But
Yeah.
in terms of development, I think it may still be available, but they're not gonna. What I heard is that they weren't gonna continue developing it beyond where it is now.
Yeah, because I don't think it's part of Microsoft 365 anymore.
No.
No, it's not. I had to purchase it separately.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that towards the end of the meeting. Okay. This came up a couple of years ago.
One quick thing though, if we're through with questions,
Okay.
we just
One
have
quick thing.
we have a title for the change of topic.
To me, it's the same topic, so.
Okay, sorry.
No. Okay. Microsoft OneDrive, a topic near and dear to my heart, because I think that the rollout and the promotion of this was horribly mismanaged by Microsoft. It's not a bad product. Actually, it's very useful, but it's confusing the way that Microsoft presented it. They present it as a backup solution, and it's not really what I would consider a backup solution.
Yeah.
The Windows 11 backup solution is called File History, and that does what you expect. It takes your files and it backs them up to another external drive. Microsoft OneDrive works a little differently. It's kind of a backup, but let's see here. All right.
I like that you went through this history.
Yes.
I didn't bother looking at that for iCloud.
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually had this. To be fair, we talked about this a couple of years ago, and I basically refurbished my presentation from back then. So the history of OneDrive, and I love how this worked. 2007, we had Windows Live. They were promoting Windows Live this and Windows Live that for a couple of years. And this was Windows Live folders. It's stuff that would actually be up in the cloud. 2008, they rebranded it as SkyDrive in the cloud.
Mm-hmm. And it was, I think I had SkyDrive for the Mac at the time.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
And it took a few years before, when I was stationed in Germany, in Bremerhaven, used to watch a lot of UK television, and the primary channel on UK television was Sky Channel. So it took a couple years before Sky UK realized, you guys took our copyright. So Sky UK sued Microsoft saying you can't call it SkyDrive. So in 2014, SkyDrive became OneDrive. That's how we wound up with OneDrive. And it was basically free for a few years. Then in 2015, Microsoft replaced unlimited storage plan with paid tiered subscriptions. And then in 2023, they integrated OneDrive into Microsoft 365. So it's actually part of the Microsoft 365 storage plan. That's how you get it there.
Isn't it still available as a standalone, though?
You know, I
OneDrive?
think it might be, but I could not find where you might get it as a standalone. They may have it hidden in there somewhere, but
I'm pretty sure, like in the Mac App Store, you can download a OneDrive app, just the OneDrive app.
well, now it's integrated into everything else on Windows.
Yeah.
Here's the pricing, and I did verify what the pricing is. I found it interesting because when they first put it into Microsoft 365, they took away the free plan. Well, free plan's back. So 5 gig of storage and 15 gig of storage in a mailbox for Outlook. The whole thing is the 15 gig mailbox storage is part of the general storage. So they may say 15 gig mailbox storage, but weirdly it's 5 gig until you upgrade. Yeah, I gotta love them. Yeah, the mailbox storage is actually part of the basic storage. Then they have the 365 basic, which is $20 a year. That gets you 100 gigs of storage, or personal or family, which will give you 1 terabyte of storage in each case. The personal plan, $70 a year, gets you 1 terabyte. The family plan gives you 6 users, and it gets you 6 terabytes, but that's only 1 terabyte per user. You can't pool them together. And that's $100 a year. But again, it lets you put it on multiple devices.
Yeah.
So I can have Microsoft 365 through the family plan on this laptop, my other laptop, my desktop, my other desktop. When you've been into computing for a few years, you accumulate a lot of, and most of them are still in good shape too. So here's the requirements for OneDrive. You must have a Microsoft account. You have to be able to log in. It can actually be manually downloaded and installed on Windows 7, although I can't imagine they support that. Windows 8.1, they started putting it into Windows automatically. It is also available for Mac OS, iOS, iPad OS, and Android. And you can be signed into up to 5 devices at a time. So I could be using it on my 2 desktops and my 2 laptops and my iPad, come to think of it, or my iPhone. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's how you use it. In Windows, on the system tray that is in the bottom right of your Windows, there will be a small gray cloud. That is your OneDrive system tray icon. If you click on that, if you're not logged into your Microsoft account, it will ask you to do so, and then it'll bring up this window here. And we have the options for open folder, or view online, or recycle bin. Open folder means open up my local folder on this device that I'm using for OneDrive. View online means it'll look at OneDrive up in the cloud. OneDrive.live.com.
It'll open a web browser at that point.
It'll open a web browser.
So just a quick Apple side of this. It looks exactly the same on the Mac. The OneDrive product for the Mac, it's cross-platform. The only difference is instead of the system tray at the bottom, it's in the menu bar at the top. So the OneDrive icon just appears at the top of the screen, and then you get that same little box on your Mac screen with the same icons, the same choices.
Cool.
So it works the same on the Mac.
The thing of most interest here, though, is this little gear icon up in the upper right corner of this window. Because if I click on the gear icon, it brings me to settings. So go to gear and go to settings here. It has a few other options here that we won't talk about right at the moment. Okay, under settings, I go to sync and backup section here on the left. And here's where you get to decide what you want to do. Manage backup. Backup important PC folders to OneDrive. If I select that, this is what it looks like on Windows 11. Used to be that they only had the first 3 folders automatic. Documents, pictures, and desktop. A couple months back, they added in music and videos as well. So this is where I decide, by default, what folders I want backed up to OneDrive. I have selected documents and pictures on this particular device.
I accidentally kicked my tripod, sorry.
Oh. I have not selected desktop music or videos on here for reasons which I will talk about a little bit later. When you first launch this, by default, all 5 of them are automatically selected. So deselect any folders that you decide that you don't want to back up to OneDrive, and then click Save Changes, and it'll start backing them up into the cloud. Okay, also on the left-hand column, there is Manage Accounts. If you click on that, this lets you manage your Microsoft accounts. I can add an account to this PC, or I can unlink this PC. The other thing here is choose folders. This, and it actually tells me how much OneDrive I'm using. I'm using 74 gigs on this PC. I have the family plan, so I have 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage available to me in the cloud. Of interest is choose folders. When I click on this, and we'll do this after I'm done with the slides, when I look at this, what it does is it shows me all of the OneDrive folders in the cloud, and it lets me choose which folders I want visible on this PC when I'm using it. I don't have to have everything I put up on OneDrive visible on this particular device. I get to pick and choose which ones. Again, I'll look at that when I'm done with the slides here. And this lets me set the timeout value on the personal vault. And I'll talk about the personal vault here. By default, it's 20 minutes. And notifications when syncing is paused. Others are collaborating with me on items I've shared in OneDrive, like Barry. Warn me when a large number of files are deleted in the cloud. And I actually did this last month when I was cleaning all this up, and I'll explain about that a little bit later. And it actually, after 30 days, says, I'm about to delete a bunch of folders. Are you sure you want to do this? I said, yes.
Oh, I see, when the timeout of the
recycle bin.
Of the recycle.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this controls what kind of notifications I want to get off of this. And then about OneDrive. The one thing of interest here, well, 2 things of interest. One is the OneDrive device ID, which if you're actually having trouble with OneDrive and you talk to Microsoft support, they may want that ID number in order to help troubleshoot what's going on. And the other interesting thing is at the bottom down there, you can join the OneDrive Insider program and get preview updates before release. I am of the opinion I have enough fun and games with the released versions. I don't need the pre-released versions. Thank you very much.
That's like participating in a beta program, right?
Exactly. Yes, Windows Insider calls their beta program Insider Previews. So I can also manage storage over here, which means basically from there I can buy additional storage if I needed to. Again, like iCloud, I believe the additional storage is tiered. Another 100 gigs a month costs like $1.99.
I've got that pricing in my thing. So
yeah, it's similar, very similar to the same thing.
Yeah. You could pay for more if you want.
All right. I'd ask for questions, but at this point, I'm probably going to answer most of them. Here's where it gets fun. OneDrive is very useful, but you have to understand how to think about it. For those of us of a certain seasoning, we were used to everything happening on the device. And then when they came up with the internet, great. The internet is adjacent to our device, but everything happens on our device. We changed paradigms. We changed the way we look at things with OneDrive, or at least Microsoft did. The original OneDrive was PC-centric. You had files you stored on your device, and then you saved them to the cloud to make sure they were safe. But you worked with them on your device. The current OneDrive, they changed the viewpoint, cloud-centric. They expect you to be working on your files in the cloud. You may bring them down to your device to work on them, but it's always going to go back to the cloud. Once you understand the viewpoint shift, many things become clear, and this gives you control over how OneDrive works. And there are a number of ways you may want to change the way that OneDrive works, so it actually works for you. I know this confused the heck out of me when I first started using it, going, what is this thing doing to my files? And then I came to understand what was going on. Okay, because it assumes that you're going to be working with everything in the cloud, it has different sync modes for when you work on your files on your device. There's 3 sync modes, and each method is indicated by an icon in the status column in the File Explorer. And you'll actually see a couple of other little icons here too. For example, the little guy there, this indicates a folder or a file that I've shared out to somebody. Other people have access to it. This one here with the little arrows means I changed something on my device here, and it hasn't synced the changes up to the file in the cloud yet. It's working on that. So here's what these other ones mean. There's 3 main ones. The default mode is called Files on Demand, and that's the green circle with the green check mark inside of it. A green check mark inside of a white circle. This is default. The way it works is it keeps a permanent copy in the cloud. When you want to work on that file, it'll download a copy to your device, and you work on it, make changes, and it automatically saves the changes up to the cloud. Now, here's the thing. The copy stays on your device until a disk cleanup operation is performed, like disk cleanup or storage sense. So say that you're running out of hard drive space, and your Windows will decide, you need to get a little more space. It'll run disk cleanup automatically, and it will automatically go in and delete that file. Say that you've gone in and you're going to work on it again, and you actually use File Explorer to look on your device, say, where'd that file go? It's still up there in the cloud, it just took it off of this device. This is the default mode. So just kind of something to be aware of.
You still see the file though in the Explorer. I mean, it's still an indication that
Yeah.
that the file is available.
It's available.
But it's just not on your device.
But it's not on your device anymore.
Oh, okay.
And this threw people off at the beginning. That's the default. Here's the ways that you can change this. The white check mark instead of the green circle is always keep on this device. It downloads a copy from the cloud and keeps it there on your device. This is much more like what we were used to in the past, where I make my changes here and then it synchronizes the changes up to the cloud, and that keets it as a backup up there.
And that's more like what iCloud Drive does.
Right.
Most out for default.
Right. And of course, doing this, and Charlie, as you mentioned when you asked that question, yes, any device that you're logged into with your OneDrive, you could see your files from any of those devices, as long as you're logged in with that same Microsoft account, up to 5 devices. Okay, here's the...
I have a question going back to the green circle, the white check mark. So when you're like, your example, when it's running out of disk space and it's going to run, what is it, disk sense or what?
Or disk cleanup,
It won't then automatically offload this one.
No, this one it will keep.
It won't keep.
It
all,
will.
It'll
leave
decide
this
to send something else off.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, here's the third option. If there's a blue outline of a cloud, what this means is a permanent copy is saved to the cloud, and when you open this up, it brings a temporary copy in, lets you work on it, and then when you close the file, it deletes it instantly off of the device. This is if you have very little storage space on your local device and you don't want to keep anything locally. So it'll let you make changes, save it up to the cloud, and then delete it off of your device here. So that's if you have very limited storage space. So those are the 3 options that you can choose. And how to select those modes? In File Explorer, if you right-click on the file or the folder, you'll see these options. If neither of these are selected, then it's in the default mode. If you select Always Keep on this device, then you get the green circle with the white check mark, and it'll always keep it on the device. If you select Free Up Space, it turns on that mode. Neither of them are selected. It defaults to the files on demand. Now for the confusing part. I absolutely love this. I almost threw my PC through the window when I finally figured out what was going on. Microsoft markets OneDrive as a backup solution. They keep telling anybody, you want to back up your files, use this. It's not a backup solution. It's a synchronization solution. It's used to synchronize your files across multiple devices, which is extremely useful. But the way they implemented it is confusing. Okay. If you are not running OneDrive, say that you just got a new computer, that you're running Windows 11 for the first time, or you just did a major upgrade like the 24H2 upgrade, every now and then after they do a big upgrade, you'll come up with a window the first time you boot that says, let's finish setting up your PC. And one of the things it'll say is, would you like to back up your files? Here is the caveat, and here's where I messed up. Still gets me going. Well, yes. Who wouldn't want to back up their files? And I clicked yes, on the assumption that it would then take me into a configuration menu and let me set it up the way I wanted. No, I hit yes, and it started running. It started off OneDrive and started running with all defaults in place. All right. Not realizing what was going on, I then went to my next device and did the same thing. Did I mention I have 4 devices? Okay. After I started looking, I'm going, what the heck has happened here? Okay, couple things that happens. By default, your computer has on it folders called desktop, which actually are all the files that are that you moved to your desktop or you have sitting there. Documents, pictures, music, and videos. On your computer's hard drive, they reside under the C drive, and they're on the directory C, users, whatever username you're using. Like on this, it's Mike M, I think, and desktop or documents. Okay, when OneDrive is turned on, it creates new folders under username/OneDrive. It'll create username OneDrive desktop, username OneDrive documents, and so on. And then it will move all the files from the original documents folder into the corresponding OneDrive folder. Not copy. So now the original folders are now empty. Except, I don't know if they still do this or not. There may be a new shortcut labeled, "Where are my files?" And if you click on that, it'll actually take you to the OneDrive folder. Now, so I'm working on a file. I'm working on a Word document. I open up Word. I have under my recent files the document I was working on. It was saved under my documents folder. I click on it, file not found. Because it's looking under the original documents folder. It wasn't smart enough, Microsoft wasn't smart enough, to change where all the references to the original files were. So what really ticked me off was I played games. I play a lot of games. And some games will automatically save to a saved game folder under documents. I bring up my game. Where the heck are my save games? They were gone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out. This can break things if you aren't aware of what's going on. And if you look under OneDrive, there they all are. But there's no indication really that they were moved like that. Okay, that was one irritation. Here's the other irritation. OneDrive in the cloud only creates one folder for documents, one folder for desktop, pictures, music, and videos. If you go up and look at OneDrive in the cloud, you'll see one single document folder, da-da-da. So when you launch OneDrive on your first device, it will then, it moves all those folders, and then it copies everything in those folders up into the cloud. Everything that's in the documents folder on this device, it'll move up to the documents folder up in the cloud. Then I go to my second laptop. I run OneDrive. Oh, it takes everything from the documents folder there and moves it into the same document folder up in the OneDrive cloud. And from the same desktop to the same folder. Now, whatever unique documents I had in both of those are now all thrust together. Did I mention I had 4 devices? So say that I had like 25 files in each device. I suddenly have 100 files up in the OneDrive, but it gets better because its main purpose is synchronization. So once I've turned OneDrive on all those devices, after it's loaded all those up, it then brings them all back down to every device. Instead of having 25 files on each device, I now have 100 files on each device. And many of them are things that will not work. For example, on my desktop, I might have a shortcut to a program. Well, that shortcut was just copied over to every other device. But that program is not on those other devices, so it's worthless. It's broken. It won't do anything for me. So,
If you have the same name on all 4 devices, and they take it out there, will it?
doesn't have to be the same name. It's not separated by name. It just
No,
dumps them all.
The same
Like the
name, you
file.
go to the cloud, do they give you 1, 2, 3, 4 after the name?
To be honest, I never noticed. Quite frankly, I did not notice whether it would do that or not. So be aware of this behavior. So what I wound up doing was a month or 2 back, I finally got around to it, where I went into OneDrive on the cloud and I started deleting files and moving around to where I wanted to be. So I actually have it now set up where I have all the files where I need them. And now that I understand how it works, it's fine. It's just that initial thing. If I'd realized that that was the way it was going to work, I would have approached it differently. And I would have made sure that I had my folders and files cleaned up on each device before I let them go up to the cloud. So one thing you might want to do, though, is if you have files that you know you want just on this device and don't want it synchronized to any other device, you might create a folder named Documents Local, for example, a different name than Documents, and save it there so that it won't get updated like that. But leave any other files you might want to work with in the Documents folder and then turn on OneDrive. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't like I don't use OneDrive, but I created a folder on C drive. I just call it C2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I have other folders, but everything that I put on my computer goes in the C2 folder.
Yep.
And so it's easy to find, and I get folders and files in there, so it's not mixed in with my other stuff on C drive or anywhere else.
Yep.
And that takes care of that problem.
Yeah. I did much the same thing over the years. I created a folder called Data, and anything I wanted to back up using a backup procedure went under Data. So it goes like 6-7 folders deep, I'm sure. But yeah, that's exactly a good way to do it for backing up your stuff. Yeah. Okay. If you want to back up large files to OneDrive, that could be a little problematic because OneDrive requires that all files that are backed up have to be in that OneDrive folder and the C drive. And if you have a small C drive and a really large file, that may not work very well. For example, my old desktop, it had a SSD C drive from when those are really pricey. So it's only 256 gigs. And so it's pretty well full already. So if I have a really large file, I can't sync it to the OneDrive that way. So there is a way to do that, though. You'd go up to the OneDrive website directly, and there's a way there to actually upload large files directly to the website without going through your PC. So you'd bring that up by bringing up the View Online, and that'll bring it to your OneDrive on the web. And if you go up there, and this is something new they just put on, they have a new and upload folder. And you have the options here. I can upload files or upload folders. This is one way that you can get them up into your cloud. But one thing to be aware of is that anything you do it this way is not synced automatically. So this is for archiving. If you make any changes, you're going to have to upload it again.
So are those then not even visible in your OneDrive?
They're visible, not on the local. It
Right.
only be visible up on the web.
Only on the web.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, back up to that folder on C drive, it won't go to the cloud. It's not like your backup, like you said. If you say save this to my folder on C drive or CC2, what I'm talking about, that doesn't go to the cloud.
Yeah. No,
Right.
only if you put it in the OneDrive folder. Anything that goes in the OneDrive folder tries to upload. And this is if you have a file that's really too large to fit in the OneDrive folder. Yeah.
So you can put it on your OneDrive, but it's only
Yeah.
in the cloud.
Yeah.
Not.
Okay, last time we talked about this, people were concerned about security. Same with any cloud device. Is it secure?
Right.
Microsoft engineers, they follow the best industry practices, separation of duties, separation of passwords, and all that. Anything transmitted to the OneDrive cloud is encrypted by the same HTTPS encryption that everybody else uses. Information stored in the cloud on OneDrive is encrypted with a set of unique keys, and the keys themselves are encrypted and then stored offline with a set of master keys. So very, very difficult for anybody to break in, actually impossible to break in. And then if you are concerned about security, if that's a concern of yours, you can always encrypt your files and folders yourself using an application like 7-Zip, which is a compression program, because compression actually is a form of encryption. And so you can encrypt them and password protect them yourself and then put them up there in the cloud. There is another thing you can do as well. OneDrive has what they call a personal vault, which is another area of security. It's encrypted and it has another layer of password protection. It requires you to either use password protection or Microsoft Authenticator, which is an authenticator app. It's one of those things where it requests a number, you go to your authenticator app, it gives you a number to enter in. It gives you another layer of security there. And once you sign in, then it looks like any other directory. And we saw when I was looking at the configuration, it had Microsoft Vault's default was log me out after 20 minutes. So, and you could set that to however much time. So it'll automatically save them or save stuff there that you put in there. But be aware that because it is encrypted and kind of separated from everything else, again, this is not automatically synced either. This is for archival, but it's more secure or it adds more security than what you have with the rest of OneDrive. Questions? All right. So looking at my screen here.
Here, let me move this
Yeah,
thing.
move that up there.
Move
All
that
right.
up there.
All right.
Oops. I keep hitting that.
Stop playing. Here is first let's take a look at the folders. So if I bring up my File Explorer, here where it says Michael Personal, this is my personal OneDrive account that's here. And if I bring that up, this shows my OneDrive documents that I have said to be visible on this computer. There's not that much there. Let's compare that. I'm going to go down to the little gray cloud here, bring that up. Looks pretty much like I had before. I'm going to view online. And this shows all of the stuff that is available online. Files. This is what I have loaded up onto my OneDrive in the cloud now. All of these documents, or all these folders. You'll see that I only have a very small subset of those on this drive, or on this device. Because I don't figure I'm going to need most of that. I only really use this for casual use or for user group meetings. So I don't have that much available here as opposed to what I actually have up there. So I'm going to look at my settings here. See, there's where I get to my personal vault if I want to. Okay, under account. Okay, so sync and backup. If I go to that and manage backup, here is what I selected. Here's what I want available to me. Documents and pictures. To me, backing up my desktop is really not very useful because every device I use, stuff I put on the desktop is unique to that device. So I don't really want that synchronized across devices. So I turn that off. Music and videos, don't really have any on here. If I go to account and go to choose folders, here's where it shows actually everything that I've got up there in OneDrive on the cloud. But here's where I tell it, this is what I want available to me on this device. It just doesn't show it there. I have to go to up online in order to see it there.
That's
Also up in the cloud.
It's up in the cloud, But this is all I see on this device.
So the blue check marks
The
is
blue
what
check
you
mark,
choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you'll see that documents, personal vault, pictures are grayed out because I already chose those
Right.
up here. So they're grayed out down there. If I wanted to get rid of those, I just unclick that. And that is essentially what I wanted to show you on that. Manage storage. Okay, it says I have 76 gigs. Here's my subscriptions. Oh, and they give me 10 gigs when my paid plan ends. Oh, how nice of them. All right. That is OneDrive. Yeah, go ahead. I'm ready for questions now.
What happens to all the stuff you have saved in the cloud if you uninstall OneDrive?
I would imagine it probably goes away. If you uninstall OneDrive from your device, it'd still be there. But if you delete your Microsoft account, then I would imagine it would go away.
So you can't delete those off of the cloud?
If you wanted to delete them, sure. Yeah.
You'd have to delete them before you uninstalled it?
You don't really uninstall the cloud.
You can uninstall OneDrive.
You can uninstall OneDrive, but it's going to uninstall it from the device.
Yeah.
Right.
But your files are still going to be up there in the cloud, unless you were to delete your Microsoft
Yeah,
account.
that's my question.
Yeah.
So if you uninstall OneDrive, your
Yeah.
files are still up there.
Yeah, if you uninstall OneDrive, you're just uninstalling it from this device.
And then you have to go to OneDrive.com and you can still see the files.
Right, OneDrive.live.
Even though they're not connected to your computer anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just,
If you delete your files from OneDrive before you uninstall it, they won't have anything.
Right, yeah. If you went up to OneDrive.live, well, yeah, if you deleted all your files, yeah, and then uninstalled that.
And uninstall it, they'd all be gone.
Yeah, right. Other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you explain to me what's the difference between a OneDrive and an external hard drive? We were all told to go out and get for backup.
Sure. OneDrive is.
Good question.
Yeah, very good question. OneDrive is in the cloud, which means all you need is an internet connection and you can get to it. It's God only knows wherever.
Yeah.
An external hard drive is a device that you actually connect to your device here, usually through a USB connection,
Yes.
and you actually copy things from this device. It's not necessarily internet enabled unless you actually made it so, but that is a little complicated. But it's not anything you get to through the internet. No other device would be able to get to it except the device you have it connected to, unless you shared it out.
Okay, so what's preferable?
It depends on what you need. For example, I have an external hard drive connected to my network back home for files that I'll never want to use on the internet. For example, the movies I downloaded using Tuneboto,
okay.
I have all those stored up on an external hard drive. I will never use those across the internet. On OneDrive, the files I have are the files like, for example, I use for the user group, where sometimes I might want to work on it on my desktop, sometimes I might want to work on it if I'm over on my laptop. I want to share them out with these guys, and I can just share them easily to other people.
So if I have an external hard drive, you wouldn't recommend that I?
Oh, no.
oh no.
Oh, no, external hard drives are,
They're very helpful.
they're very,
yeah.
and a matter of fact, if you actually do as I mentioned, Microsoft talks about OneDrive as being a backup. It's not. It's synchronization.
Synchrony.
Backup, you want to back up to that external drive is a great way to do that.
Okay.
And again, in Windows, they call that file history. That's the real backup.
Right. Yeah.
So based on that, oh, I'm sorry.
No,
So I have, thousands of photographs, for
Mhm.
instance, and probably thousands of documents. When I go to the cloud, I can't find those documents in the cloud. I don't know where they are. Are they on my external hard drive, maybe?
No, if they're in the cloud, no.
I don't know where they are.
Well, it depends on what application because you didn't just download them and put them up in the cloud. You used an application. For example, you used Google Photos, or you put them in iCloud Photos, or you put them on Amazon Photos. When you're in the cloud, somebody's running that cloud.
Yeah.
It may be
I don't
Amazon.
know how they got, so I use a Mac.
Right.
Now, okay?
Okay.
So are you talking about the Photos library, the Photos app?
The photo library, because, I have photos that date back whenever.
Yeah.
I know they were on my PC, on my laptop years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now when I go to my photos, they're not there, I don't know where they are. Same thing with some documents. They don't show up anymore. Now, I bought a device called Picture Keeper. If you're familiar with that, it's an external, thumb drive, whatever.
Oh, uh-huh.
You use that as a backup, and I haven't tried to see what's on there. I backed up, my iPhone, my iPad, but I have not gone back out and look at it and see what's
Yeah.
actually is on that thumb drive.
Well, in terms of how it currently works in the Apple ecosphere, if you take a photo on your iPhone and you have iCloud Photos turned on, it's going to automatically put it in the cloud. And then if you have a Mac in the Photos app, same thing, iCloud Photos turned on, it'll transfer it to your Mac automatically. And so it's in Apple's cloud, iCloud Photos, and you can access it from both your iPhone and your Mac. And you can choose for the Mac to download the full-size original so that you have a local copy of the file rather than just one in the cloud. But in terms of older files that may predate that system that, maybe you implemented at some point.
I can't see, well, of course, I was a PC user before the Mac came.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of PC files. Now, once I committed myself to the Mac, supposedly everything that was on the PC, all my files, photos, they automatically transferred over to.
Then they may have been transferred just as files in folders and not part of the photo library application that runs that stuff now. So they may be not in your photo library, but they may just be just files loose on your computer.
Later, because I don't know. Like I said, my basic training with photographs.
Yeah.
It goes back from the 1960s. I don't know where they go.
Oh, you digitized some really old film and slides
way
and
back.
yeah. Well, if you didn't actually add them to iPhoto or the new Photos app that's currently Apple's solution, if you didn't put them in those libraries when you transferred to the Mac, then they would have been just transferred as files, JPEG files, loose in folders or something.
I don't know. And one other question then. I have Microsoft 365, so OneNote is part of that. Does that work? How does that work in conjunction with what we're talking about now? OneDrive, Apple Drive, and all that. Does it?
It's just part of the Microsoft 365 bundle.
Yeah, it's just a note app.
Yeah. Well, it works along with the rest of them. I've never used it myself, but yeah, it's just.
The only thing that I used for OneNote for was back in the day. I used Evernote. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Yes, I used to use that,
note-taking.
yeah.
And I got they changed ownership and they changed models in terms of pricing, and the free version wasn't good enough for what I wanted to do anymore. I had a bunch of stuff in OneNote categorized in different notebooks and stuff, or in Evernote. And they had a tool where you could capture something on a web page and put it directly into a note on Evernote. When they changed and I didn't want to use it anymore, I switched to Microsoft OneNote because they had a conversion tool, and I could just take my Evernote database and put it into OneNote, and it would keep everything organized the way I had it. And then I could ditch, and that's what I have in OneNote, and I don't really think I haven't added anything to it since. So.
Yeah. But yeah, OneNote is just a way to organize different files. I used to use Evernote for my class notes when I used to teach, and I'd actually do that to put my lectures up there on Evernote. So it's that kind of app, just available through Microsoft 365. Yeah.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, I got one last thing a couple days ago, I looked at the temperature gauge on my computer, and that's what it said. I actually really enjoyed and temperatures to plummet. What really got me was I said, Carol, you ain't going to believe this. And I went out to where she was in the other room on her computer, and her computer showed the same thing in this widget.
So this is the Microsoft weather widget?
This is the Microsoft weather. Yeah, that one right down here.
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, just like that. So I went, okay, I wonder where it got that from.
Hell, down in hell.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
But I love that. Temperatures to plummet. Yeah, I hope so.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Well, we have come to the end of the hour, and we didn't get to Apple iCloud Drive. Just let me say, in general, it's cloud storage from Apple that provides many of the same kinds of services that we just saw Michael show us with OneDrive. There are some differences. and didn't even go into the sharing aspect of it,
Yeah.
but both of them you can share files with other people and so forth. But when you were talking about how when you got conglomerated and everything, one of the things that iCloud does, if you're turning it on for multiple Macs, it actually does make separate document folders by default,
Which is what I would expect.
with the computer name next to it, so that you know which documents folder is in iCloud and which one is associated with which computer.
Yes.
So that was one nice little thing that I thought Apple did right there. So,
And that's fully what I expected to see, and I did not.
so we will just hold that off until, let's see, I don't want to, need to get to the end of I went backwards, I think. Need to get to the end of my presentation. So this part will be edited out, because I'm going to,
John, keep it for the blooper reel.
yeah, I may have to record a little bit at home so I can give it to John for the online version. So I'll just play this last few slides. Thanks again to our sponsors this month, Carolyn, the Candle Lady, with our Mia Bella candles, and my wife's Story Power podcast. You can find at sagewoman.life. And you can check out my blog at either bazzmacgeek.com or bazzarama.blog. Either URL will take you to my musings. We'll see you next year. Have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.